Welcome to the Inspiring Women of Iowa podcast, a special series amplifying the stories of the Inspiring Women of Iowa finalists. Inspiring Women of Iowa is an annual event hosted by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa with the goal of celebrating women of courage, confidence, and character who are making the world a better place. And why does that sound familiar? Well, because it also happens to be the mission of the Girl Scouts, where they believe society is better because strong women show girls that anything is possible. This event was created by Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa in 2017 to celebrate women in our community and share their stories, while raising support for the Girl Scout programs that build the next generation of inspiring women. 16 individuals are celebrated annually with the Courage, Confidence, Character, and Inspiring Advocate for Women awards. I'm your host, Teresa Peterson, Caramel Delight enthusiast, and I'm honored to have the chance to speak with these amazing, inspiring women and to share their stories with you. Joining me today is Dr. Haley Harvey. Dr. Harvey is the Section Chief and Director of Dental Education at Broadlawns Medical Center, where she works to expand access to dental care and improve oral health for underserved communities. She has been nominated for the Confidence Award. Welcome, Haley.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Teresa.
It's our absolute pleasure. What should we know about you and your work? I know right before we hopped on, you were with dental students. Tell us
Yes.
about a day in the life and what
Oh
your
my
job
goodness.
entails. Yeah.
Well, I'll just step back a little bit. I've been
Yeah.
at Broadlawns Medical Center now for 23 years, and I may be entering my 24th year. I lose track at times, and it's just been my joy and pleasure to serve here as Section Chief and Director of Dental Education. Part of the work that we do here is we take care of primarily Polk County residents that don't have dental homes among the private practitioner area. We
Yeah.
see a lot of patients that are on state insurances, so they meet a certain financial qualifications. But we aren't exclusive to them. But I will say that's our largest population of
Mm.
patients that seek care here. And in this space, we also are fortunate to, one, we are a training hospital. And part of that, we have the opportunity to have senior dental students from the University of Iowa come here and train. So they're here for 5 weeks. And during the 5 weeks, they help us to provide dental care for the patients that are in our patient pool.
Yeah, that's amazing. What led you to this particular
Um,
branch of dentistry or this particular line of service?
you
How
know
did
what?
you
I
get
just feel
here?
so fortunate and blessed to, one, be a dentist. I have if I go back, I'll go back a little bit, particularly for the young people out there who are wondering, what career choice, particularly young girls, should
Yeah.
they pursue. I will say I came to mind because my mother one day, and this is a common story, I've shared it, and I won't be long, I hope, but my mother had come home, and we lived in a 2-family flat at the time, and so we were in the upper level, and we can look out into the world. And I noticed that
Mm.
my mother was in a taxi cab getting dropped off. And back then, and for today's youth, that might be a Uber or a Lyft or something,
Yeah.
it was not using our car, which we had one. And I remember looking at my dad, said, "Why is mom taking a taxi?" And he said, "Oh, honey, your mother had all of her teeth removed today." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, "What? All her teeth?" And we walked up, we didn't have an elevator, so she walked up the stairs, she came through the door, walked past the two of
Oh.
us, and went to the bedroom to lie down. And so my mind was blown twice that day. One, that my mother had all her teeth removed, and secondly, that she would go to the bedroom when the sun was still up, because my mother's
Mm.
motto back then was sleep is a waste of time. And so
Mm.
I was blown away by that. And I also believe now, and probably early in my life, that planted the seed of interest in teeth, the presence and absence of teeth. And
Yeah.
and I've been quite fortunate. My dad did try to discourage me from pursuing a career in dentistry, but I tell you, it was embedded in me to do it. And And I have no regrets. And he would call me periodically when I was in undergrad, and I did that at Michigan State University. I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. And he would call me periodically and say, "Honey, have you considered business law?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, Dad." He's like, "Oh," and I remember one summer he encouraged me strongly. He said, "Honey, you better get into a office and really see how disgusting it really is." He said, "Dentistry is like the worst profession on the face of the earth."
Oh
So with that
gosh.
endorsement,
Yeah.
so with that endorsement, I was fortunate enough in Detroit to go walk literally to the neighborhood dentist. She wasn't mine, happened to be a African American female.
Amazing. Yeah.
And
Love that.
I tell the story often too that I was so, oh, I don't know. When I see myself, I'm like, I cringe. I'm like, why? I was like, yeah, I need to get in here and see if I like this. And she said, "You need a job." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Well, I want to be a dentist." And my dad said I need to, get in here and see if and I said, "I have a job, so no, I just need to get in here." And she let me. It was so I
Mhm.
in my now I say, how gracious was she to,
Mm.
with my hand flicking in the air, needing to get into her practice. And she allowed me to chair side with her associate, and honestly, it turns out she was a specialist. It was nothing but blood and whatever. It was muck. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Hmm." And I remember going home that day and my dad saying to me, "Well, what do you think?" And I was like, "I love it." Much to
Ah.
his dismay. And so I feel very fortunate to be able to be in this career, to be accepted to the University of Iowa. I'm the class of '94. I say that proudly. I stayed on and did a master's in dental public health because I think the end of my junior year, I realized that late again, I feel like I'm always slow on the uptake, that the field of public health and dentistry was for me.
Mm.
Um, Probably because of my lived experience watching people around me, including my mother, negotiate systems to try to effectuate
Yes.
the changes that was necessary for them to live a healthy and complete life with a confident smile and
Yeah.
have nutrition. That to do this for populations of people was for me. It was meant for me. And so I feel very fortunate that Iowa would accept me. No regrets. I have literally drunk the black and gold. It pours through my system, and I love and appreciate the opportunity that I had as a student and now as a adjunct faculty member with them,
Mm.
assigned here to Broadlawns. I also
Mhm.
serve on a alumni leadership council at Iowa, and so it's just been such a warm and welcoming experience for me, which actually is the reason why I think I set up roots here in Iowa versus going back to Detroit. That was
Mm.
part of it, just how welcoming the state has been, how welcoming and encouraging the dental community has been, and it's just been my joy, my greatest joy, and I just hope, young girls that hear my story might, be encouraged to consider a career in dentistry. I'm 0 for 2. I have 2 daughters. And but I would want your young people, young girls to know that
Mhm.
although I'm really simplifying my journey, there were some times when things were not linear. There was
Yeah.
some curves in
Yeah.
the roads that needed to be negotiated. And I just feel very gratified to have this moment to share that with young girls particularly, but all young people, because I think now with social media and the
Mm.
challenges that adds, I didn't grow up in the social media time, but I again had challenges. I was bullied and that was a challenge until
Mhm.
until it wasn't. And I had to be very intentional on saying to myself and speak into my life that I was done with that. I was never gonna be bullied again. And I
Mm.
wanna go back just a little bit to let you know, all of that seed planting happened when I was 7. I was 7.
Wow.
I locked in at wanting to be a dentist,
Yeah.
hard lock in at 8. And so I want young girls to know that it is impossible to overcome, what may be interpreted as a weakness,
Mm.
maybe not, being the prettiest or being perceived as the most well equipped in whatever, you can list them.
Yeah.
Uh, but then to say to yourself, this is who I am, this is who I want to be and what I want to
Mm.
be, and then map that path forward. It's
I
possible.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful, and, like, a few things that are sticking with me, right, is that idea that it's good to, like, train for those challenges so you can meet them, right? Like,
Absolutely.
we don't get tough taking the easy road, or, like, sometimes what bruises us can make us stronger. I think that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
important, like, for young women to hear, and the other thing I'm thinking about is the courage you had probably from age 7 on, but to tell someone like your dad, "No, I wanna do dentistry," and to hold to that, and,
Yes.
like, even when you knew he probably was really hoping you were grossed out that day after
Oh,
the
yes.
office, tell us
Absolutely.
about, like, what helped you stay true to your own voice in that? Because I know it's a ongoing struggle for kids
Yeah,
and parents and that
yeah,
dynamic, like,
yeah, yeah.
what was in you to hold
I
strong?
think it was honestly, I feel like I had a fire hose, lived experience at a very early age,
Mm.
which is why at 8 I can lock in. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot that I saw, that I experienced.
Mhm.
Some my parents know about, some that they did not know about. I also had the opportunity to watch them negotiate some tough things
Mm.
and, and I just think that for me anyway, that was very, um, grounding, but it happened I was an old child. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, having I guess a solid family structure, not perfect,
Yeah.
but being able to just navigate through life and the journey and just try to take on the challenges as they come to the best of your ability without, I guess, falling victim to the
Mm.
to those curves or to the weight of those moments,
Yeah.
they are not that you don't sometimes feel like, "Oh my god, what else?" I
Yes.
all
Yes.
experience that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, give it a day or 3
Yeah.
and pick yourself up and get back on that horse and continue to ride it, a little bit longer. And, that would be my share, of my personal life of those that I've been on this journey with and watching, them negotiating tough times. We can weather it, um but at the same time, we have to acknowledge that they are
Yeah.
what they are, I don't
Yeah.
think that it helps for us to pretend like, some days are not heavier than others.
Absolutely. When you think about you mentioned something earlier about, dentistry and dental health and that idea of teeth for good nutrition and teeth, like, socially, right? Like, the
Oh, yes.
social aspect, and when you think about that, what's important for everyone listening to think about who maybe takes their dental care for granted? We might have listeners who have always gone regularly, and they're not thinking about maybe what it means to not have it, or maybe someone out there who thinks to themselves like, I haven't gone to the dentist in 3 years and it seems fine. Like, what should people be thinking about? And even the younger girls listening, like,
Yeah, yeah,
what do you want
yeah.
them to know? And, like, share with us what a difference it makes.
Sure, thank you. Well, I will say, if there is anyone in the audience that goes regularly to the dentist and they get good feedback and they're just a simple cleaning, kudos to them. For those that, maybe go and every time they go, they have a new cavity
Mm,
or a different concern, then I say learn the lesson. What can you do, prevention-wise, diet-wise, what choices are you making to support your own oral health? I will also say that I am known for being a dentist that really challenges challenges young people in particular to consider, what they're consuming, particularly the sodas, um,
mm.
and I get the Takis and the, Doritos and all of that. Those are all treats, and don't
Yeah.
confuse them with food and nutrition. And so, to just be measured and also inform yourself because each of the, bottles of soda have nutritional facts on them. look at how many carbohydrates there are, look at how much sugar there is, all the other chemicals in there that doesn't really offer the body any nutritional value. But it is a part of our society, who doesn't have pizza and soda or, go out,
Mhm.
but they're treats, but they also are designed. They're scientists. There's, similar to
Yes.
the, you know, what do you call it, logarithms that keeps people
Yes.
to the phone. Well, scientists are also keeping us glued to these, non-nutritional treats, and they become such a big part of our lives. When I was growing up, I laugh about how my mother was not a baker, but we had a measuring cup and a spatula to make sure you can level off 1 cup of sugar to make some Kool-Aid, 2 gallons.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that was the extent of my measuring until I had home economics, and then I realized, "Oh," you know? And so I would just, encourage young people, all people, because we're all, with coffee shops
Mm.
and Quick Trips and everything, there is a plethora of, sugar options that, used to be only for treats back
Yeah.
in my day, and now it's kinda like the substitution for water. And so that's
Yeah.
that's not I guess my nutritional and, oral health f moment for this podcast. But I just also wanna share a story about, a young mother who had come in to see me, regarding her teeth. And her main concern, and it was not a concern, a major concern of hers until it affected her work. And
Mm.
so she was a server at a restaurant, and because her teeth were in such poor repair, they relegated her to the kitchen.
Oh.
And she was a good worker. I can tell she had a family to support. She wanted to work, and she said to me, "I need to work out front so I can get tips." That floored me, but it also
Yeah.
informed me that, for some people, a healthy smile is more than just, a glam shot or a selfie.
Yeah.
This for her meant her livelihood or her ability to provide money for her
Yeah.
family to sustain them. And so we did the work and got her ready, and she was so happy that now she could return to the front of the restaurant. She didn't go working at a major corporation, but that
Yeah.
wasn't her ask. Her ask
Yeah.
was, "Help me get back in the front so that I can make tips." That basic. And so
Mm.
that has guided me throughout my career, 30 something years now. Plus I'm a public health dentist, as I mentioned. And, but that has been a guide for me to try to understand the why, you know, patients are
Yeah.
here to be seen, what outcomes would they like for their selves, for their health. Sometimes it's also, "Hey, I wanna do a better job of managing my diabetes, and I'm not gonna be able to do that unless I'm able to really eat some of the recommended foods that my dietitian
Mm.
recommends for me, but
Mhm.
these teeth are preventing me from doing that." And I try to inspire dental students to sort of look beyond the teeth as well, to understand the
Mm.
stories that families
Yeah.
present with, that individuals present with. What is their why? Why are they here? Because my dad was a little bit right. No one really likes coming to the dentist. And it can be a sign, although I'm not disgusted by it, but some people are. People have ideals about dentistry. Um,
Mhm.
but so when people come to our office, when they present here, what really are they seeking? You know?
Mm.
And how can we help them achieve that goal?
That's beautiful. There are so many. I feel like we could talk for an hour. I'm wondering, like, as you think about your career and even your work now or even today, what are you really proud of?
Oh my gosh. Well, you already know, on a personal level, I'm really proud of my family, of course.
Mhm.
Professionally, I'm proud to be here. I'm shocked to be here, actually. I thought this was for my youngest daughter because she did some work with the Girl Scouts. Um, and so I'm so proud that someone, would think me a dentist, a simple profession, and professional that I would be worthy of,
Hmm.
being honored. And, and that makes me proud. I'm proud of the organizations that I serve with, um, Children and Families of Iowa, Delta Dental of Iowa Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sister. In a small way, I'm not a big, but, I serve as a champion, so I'm able to go in and have conversations about diet and nutrition
Yeah.
um, and resilience, and I'm really proud of that. I served in the Iowa and Michigan National Guards as a dentist for 10 years. I'm really proud of that
Wow.
and the work that I was able to do with for service members and
Mm.
veterans. I'm proud that currently I'm a chair of a committee, the Veterans Oral Health Committee, and the work that we aspire to do on behalf of veterans throughout the state of Iowa through the Oral Health Iowa Coalition, and help veterans better connect with dentists and get
Mm.
dental work done, um, you know, and get paid for, as a result of their service to the country and to the community and to the state of Iowa. I'm super proud of that and the opportunity to, um, just be a part of advancing that initiative.
Yeah. Nick, our producer, and I were chatting before we got hopped on, and I said, there's something right now about the heaviness of the world that it's easy to focus on that and lose sight of so many people getting up, drinking their coffee, going to work, and doing something amazing. And everything you're saying, you are one of those people, right? You get up,
Oh,
you get dressed, and you go make lives better. And it's a beautiful reminder of how many people are doing good in the world, like including you, right? That just
well, thank you.
feels so relevant. How do you stay inspired?
Oh, well, I do surround myself, and I'm fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of aspiring people. My daughters inspire me the
Mm,
most, but I also have a group of, women that one that I'm super close to, and I love her because her name is Anita. She helps me to see the world through rose-colored glasses. I'm not that person naturally, but she does that, and that inspires me. I'm fortunate to have a husband that has been on this journey with me throughout the whole career. We moved to Iowa, for me to come to dental school here, and he's been along here, and that's inspiring. We've been married 37 years now,
mm.
and, just honestly, I think coming to Broadlawns every day, like this morning was not my best day, and I'm a allergy sufferer, and I was like, "Oh, I need
Oh,
antihistamines already," and, and
yes.
I was a little frumpy. I was kinda frumpy and like, oh," but as I got closer
Mm,
to this building, it's like all those shackles started to come loose,
mm,
and this is what happened. I stopped thinking about me. I stopped thinking about me
mm.
and start thinking about, "Okay, what am I gonna do for others?"
Yeah.
Whether it's the students or patients, staff members, whatever. And I just think that that is inspiring because when you kind of, ooh, ooh, you can get a little ooh, ooh. And but when you start thinking about how can I, or what can I? And that for me now, I think it's kind of natural because although I was aware of it this morning, as I was driving, I was like, "Okay, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to what is meant for me to do in my life."
Yeah.
And although it's, drilling and filling or pulling teeth sometimes,
Yeah.
it is
Right.
still what is in me to do, and I do it gladly, and I'm so appreciative of being able to do it. So, I don't know,
Mm.
that inspires me, I guess.
That's a beautiful, there's something in that too about the reminder of when do we need to get outside of ourselves a little bit, right? Like, when do we need to, deep breath and, serve and, turn towards something? That was so beautifully said.
It's so rejuvenating. It really is. It
Yeah.
again, I felt the light.
Yeah. Dr. Harvey, you are a joy. Your spirit is beautiful. You're a
Oh,
gem.
thank you.
We could go on forever. I will see you in May at the luncheon.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm a
Yeah.
bit of a yacker, and I apologize for that too.
No, No, I'm like, let's go get some water and go on a walk and keep going, right? Like in our
And it's
house,
late.
we call those kinds of treats sometimes foods. Like it's just a
Oh,
sometimes food. It's like,
good for you. And you have a
got,
beautiful smile, so it's working.
thank you. I was at the dentist this morning, Dr. Harvey. No
Oh,
cavities, so there you go.
shocking. Good
Yeah,
job.
thank you, thank you,
Kudos.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
The 2026 Inspiring Women of Iowa event will be held on May 8th at the Meadows Events and Conference Center. To purchase tickets and get more information about supporting this event, please visit inspiringwomenofoiowa.com. All proceeds from this fundraising event stay 100% local to benefit Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa and their mission to build up girls of courage, confidence, and character who will make this world a better place. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support.